Hey there, Divine Masculine. I'm Dr. V. I'm here with your Healing Your Inner Child reading for this week. Messages from your inner child for you on this journey. Shuffling the cards right now. Why I'm doing these inner child readings is because, as we all know, on this divine love journey, a lot of connecting with your twin flame, soulmate, any type of deep soul connection really brings up a lot of old, unprocessed material. And it's important to heal that. It's important to heal it, first of all, for ourselves, but, we also know that as long as we have old patterning and old wounds, it makes it, almost impossible to actually come into connection, into union with our partner. And it also, or it means that we'll continue having these unhealthy, toxic relationships with our partners, which is also not a good situation. So the important thing, and what I've discovered in this journey on my own, is how important it is to do your own healing work. It's like always asking that question, okay, so this is happening with my divine counterpart right now. What does this mean for me? What is that? What wound was just triggered in me, and how can I work with that? And how can I heal it? And as you do that, of course, you become better, less reactive, and it influences and changes the entire relationship, which I think is amazing. And that's also, that's not the sole purpose, but it does certainly help it. So doing our own healing work is critically important, and that's what this particular reading is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and one more shuffle, and then I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so in the first position, how your inner child feels currently. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. If you watch the Divine Feminine, I just pulled that card for that reading. Wow. Okay. Which is cool, because that means that Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine are really mirroring each other. Okay, what you lacked as a child. Listening. Something that left your inner child scarred. Divine guidance. Sorry, I didn't show you the others. Let me do that. Divine guidance. Where were we? Oh, how that is affecting your life now. Playfulness. Something you can do to heal your inner child. Blessings. Move this up a little bit. How you can support your inner child. New love. And finally, sorry, I need to adjust this because I didn't lay this out right. I was like, I know something feels off here. That's what I get for not paying attention. And a message from your inner child. Beautiful. Okay. Sorry, I had my kiddos are upstairs, and I heard some noise, and it distracted me for a second. So, okay. So, how your inner child feels currently. There's a sense of harmony, and this harmony card really is about coming into harmony. So it's about the fact that your inner child is definitely wanting you to become more harmonious, but there is also that you've been doing some work to get yourself in harmony with your inner child. So good for you. That's exciting. That's a good step. And it's also saying that there's some things that are still in there. That need to rise to the surface that haven't come up yet. Old things that need to be healed. things that maybe you haven't addressed, maybe you haven't looked at. And your inner child is encouraging you to get into harmony, to continue on this path, continue doing the work, continue facing down whatever it is that you're experiencing so that you can actually really truly move forward. Your inner child is very much a peace lover. He loves the peace. He loves the sense of being in harmony, of being in a place that is quiet and calm, and wants that for you, and wants that for himself as well. But it means you have to dive in and do the work in your soul so that you can heal anything that's not any old belief systems, any outdated paradigms, any of that stuff that no longer works for you. Now is the time for you to really dig in and do that work and heal. So that's the first position. What you lacked as a child. Listening. So how I read that card really is about you weren't attended to. You had people in your life that, pardon me, I had to get a drink, weren't present to you. So it's not that they weren't there. Like, you may have had two parents in your household, you may have had a single parent household, whatever it was. But having someone physically present and having someone emotionally available and present to hear you and to see you and to listen to you, to really deeply, truly listen to you, to listen to what you're not saying. I'm not sure why that's coming through, but basically, like, that as children, sometimes when you're young, you don't know how to process your feelings. You don't even know what you're feeling. You just know that you're feeling something. And it's important to have people in your environment who can listen to you, what you say, for sure, but who can also listen to what you're not saying, that they can read the signs, that they can see when you're not feeling great, when you're not doing well, when you need something, and they're attending to that. So what I get is that you were pretty emotionally neglected in childhood, and you didn't have that person that was present for you. You didn't have somebody that was listening to you, that sat with you and was intrigued about what your day was like. It was like that wasn't present for you. And how that affects you, or something, and we'll go into how that affects you in a little bit longer. But that's something that's really important. Like, kids learn about who they are and their identity in the world based on their interactions with their caregivers. And if your caregivers are consistently sending the message that who you are is unimportant and that you're not worth listening to, then of course that's going to have an impact on you later in life. So something that left your inner child scarred. This is an interesting card to pull for this position. It's divine guidance. And what I get from that really is that I get that as a child that maybe you were looking for divine guidance. You were like maybe a spiritual kind of kid that was looking for somebody to listen to you and to help you and to be, like you were like praying, God, please send somebody, or, however it was for you. That you were really looking for some spiritual intervention, and it didn't come the way that you thought it would come. Like, you didn't have, we have these like fantastic ideas when we're kids about how the rescue might come or how things might be fixed. And if it doesn't happen, then we feel disappointed, right? We feel like, well, where was God when this was happening? Or where was the divine when this happened? And how come, if there's a God, then why did I get abused? Or if there's a God, then why did my mom die? Or, all of those things. And so it really causes us to have a crisis of faith, even as children, to not be able to trust in the divine, because in our mind, especially in this one, it's like you were seeking divine guidance, you were looking for help, and it didn't come through. And that's a really hard pill to swallow as a kid. And it's affecting you now, because it's continuing to affect you in your life right now. Part of it, and it's saying, how is this affecting you, is with your playfulness. Like, you're probably, you might have a very serious energy right now, and you may even be a little bit resistant to this whole divine love process because you feel like, yeah, that didn't work out so well the last time I was trusting God. And so maybe a part of you that's still really resistant to that, that's still really resistant to letting yourself be open to play. A lot of kids, when they experience trauma or significant disappointments as children, it impacts them later in life because they're like, they become very serious, they become very self-protective, they become very much unable to play, really, because it's like when you have to become essentially a mature adult as a child, it really changes the way that you show up in the world. And so how that's affecting you and what those experiences is that you've lost your sense of play. You've lost your ability to be able to play and feel safe being playful in this world. And playfulness is a significant part of life, and it's part of this journey. It's part of like learning to not take yourself so seriously, not take life so seriously, not be, view everything as a life or death kind of situation, but really being able to understand that sometimes a little bit of levity is good, even in serious situations. So something you can do to heal your inner child is blessings. So what I'm picking up from this card, the energy of this card, is really that it's about letting yourself receive blessings. Like, I feel like the universe has been trying to deliver things to you that you haven't been receiving because you don't trust. So it's like the universe is like trying to give you things, trying to deliver things, trying to show their devotion to you, and you're kind of like, nah, I'm not interested. So be open to receiving blessings and new opportunities and new giftings from the universe. Allow yourself to open your heart again, to open your heart up to receive that, to believe that you're worthy and that you can receive that, and that it can be something beautiful. So that's the first part of that. And the second part is to really take a look around you at what you already have. Like, you already have amazing blessings around you, whatever that is for you. So I recommend making a gratitude list. You can do 5 different points of gratitude a day, things that you're grateful for, that you can then add to, and then every time you look back and you can see all the blessings that actually did come your way, so you can really be focused and be grateful, and be really focusing and be grateful for what you do have, and not so much on what you don't have right now. So that is really beautiful. And how can you support your inner child? This is incredible right here, because I feel it's very much tied to the blessings. Like, one of the blessings that the universe is trying to deliver to you is this new love. It's this new love from somebody, your divine counterpart, your twin flame, who really, truly, unconditionally loves you. That it's not based in codependence. It's not based on manipulation. It's not based on need. It's not based on shallow surface things like how attractive you are, how much money you have, or what kind of car you drive, or anything. Like, this is a person that genuinely loves you like crazy. Like, this is a person that is so madly in love with you that, and it's real. It's not a shallow fake love that's gonna temper with time. It's really that divine, mystical, I've been waiting my whole life for this kind of love, but you're blocking it. You're not letting yourself receive it because you don't believe in it, because you're not you don't have the faith enough to trust that somebody could actually love you the way that you believe, that I think on a core level that your partner, your divine counterpart, really does love you that way. It's just hard to believe it because it's scary. Like, if you believe that, it changes things. So there's that. So how you can heal your inner child is let yourself receive that new love. Really open yourself to receiving it. Yeah, and love is risky, right? It's like, if you open your heart to love, you can have your heart broken, you can be wounded, you can have all these things happen. And there's a saying, it's like, yes, it's a risk to love. What if it doesn't work out? But what if it does? So give yourself that chance. Your inner child is saying, you can support me now by letting yourself be loved in the way that you deserve, not in the ways that you've been accustomed to. So that's really beautiful. And a message from your inner child. is the healing card. And so if you see this, like the angel is lying with her head in the lap of another, and this is about your inner child is saying, give yourself the space, give yourself the time to heal, because it's time. It really is time to heal. Like any of those old things, that old programming, those old beliefs that are still there, anything that's limiting you, anything that's keeping you from being your best and vibrant self, it's time to heal that. You have to release it. You have to let it go. You've got to do the work. Unfortunately, and this is something that I say to people all the time in my other readings, is that the only way through is through. And we try to avoid it. Oftentimes we try to avoid it because we don't want to face it. I mean, who really wants to go through pain, right? Who wants to deal with that stuff? But the reality is that you're already in pain. If you're not living your best life and your best self, and you're not doing all the things that you know that you're capable of doing, if you're living small, if you're settling in relationships, if you're, living paycheck to paycheck because you're afraid to take a chance, if you're living your life based out of fear and obligation and duty instead of living your life authentically to what you truly want, you're already in pain, because that doesn't feel good. Living a mediocre existence is not a good feeling, especially for someone who has, tasted the divine. And so part of that, and I feel like what a lot of you are dealing with right now is that, you met your twin, you met your divine counterpart, and meeting your divine counterpart, it really kind of screws with you. Like, that's the only way I can say it, because you're like, suddenly everything is different. It's like before you were totally fine with drinking like the, $6 bottle of champagne that you would get from your local liquor store, and then suddenly you had like 1,000. You were at a place and had a sip of the $1,000 champagne, and you're like, wow, I will never, like, that other stuff will never satisfy me again. And that's what happens when you meet your twin, is that suddenly you're like, oh shit, like I understand what it means now. Like, this is something out of this world. It's completely out of the ordinary. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's all of those things. Now what am I going to do with it? So you go from this, super high, great experience, wonderful, and then, you try to go back to your normal life, living from the smaller, the mentality that you had before, living the ways in which you'd compromised before. And suddenly you realize, like, none of that is satisfying, and it's not going to be satisfying, and it's not meant to be satisfying. So in order to get through that, you have to heal. You have to allow yourself to heal. So you have to look at the spaces and places in which you feel that sense of discontentment, and stop scratching the surface. Stop. I know a lot of people, men are really great at doing this. Like, the masculine is really great at doing this and kind of avoiding the pain, finding other ways. Doing things that aren't necessary, things that are distractions, and avoiding the pain instead of just diving right into it. So I really want to encourage you to dive into the healing. Find the places that are still wounded. If somebody, your twin or somebody says something to you that causes you pain, sit with that. What is that pain? I said this in the feminine inner child healing too, that it's like this journey is about you healing yourself. That's a significant part of what this work is all about. And so it's really about learning how to say, like, what is this saying about me? So if my twin does something and it triggers my, some kind of emotion in me, well, what is that saying about me? What is that pointing to that I need to heal? So is that, you're like, oh, okay, well, look, there's an abandonment wound there. Let me go ahead and deal with that, so that I'm not continually perceiving someone's boundaries as a rejection or as abandonment, or I have had like this pattern in my relationships. What does that mean about me? So that's the work that I'm talking about. Doing that kind of healing work is super, super important for this journey. It's important for you. It's important for your twin. It's important for humanity, that we do this work. So anyway, that's the message for the divine masculine, for your inner child healing for this week. I hope it was helpful. Please feel free to share this video with friends, like, comment, subscribe, and I will be coming back with some more videos here shortly. So thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.